So I'm at the Supreme Court of India, and on the 17th of September, I filed a petition for the annulment of the results of the general election 2024. Now, besides all the anomalies and manipulations which have come to light through research of various organizations, individuals, reporters, journalists, and independent researchers, there are a lot of uh, questions on the kind of people who were allowed to be elected, who should have ideally been in jails. The Manipur civil war, annexation of our territory by China, the weakening of the armed forces through the Agniveer scheme, through budgetary allocations which have been reduced. All of these have compromised the safety, security, and sovereignty of the country, and the very people who led to the largest arms loot in the history of independent India were not in jail but allowed to contest and come back. So that's the very first ground that in a state of national emergency, elections could not have been held, and people who were allowed to contest should not have been allowed to. The amount of illicit money which was with political parties through the unconstitutional electoral bond scheme is another state of national emergency, because 16,000 crore, almost $2 billion, was in the hands of political parties, and this money, as has come to be known, came from sources which could have even originated as criminal money, as money from foreign entities, from criminal organizations. So basically, the democracy is at the threat of being in control of foreign powers, of being in control of criminals. So when you have that kind of money floating, which is illegal, criminal, illicit, coming from Benami companies, coming from shell companies, coming from companies which seem to be in existence only for this purpose of funding or providing the funds to political parties, this was a state of national emergency in which elections could not have been held. EVMs are not only compromised, but they also compromise a foreign component, which is the central heart, or the brain rather, of the EVMs, which is the microprocessor chip. Now, this is manufactured by a foreign company, and as per Representation of People's Act, any foreign uh, intervention, interference in our elections is not allowed. So, how could our Election Commission of India, Supreme Court of India, let the machine which is used for casting the vote compromise a foreign component? Also, as per Representation of People Act, the Act does not allow for the use of EVMs. Only ballots can be used for casting your votes. So that is another big point of contention. Post elections, we also saw the anomalies which have come out in terms of vote manipulation, hiking of votes, EVMs not even giving the same number of votes when the results were announced and when the Form 17C was given. So a machine which you can't even have trust in to give you the correct number of votes, how can we have our entire general election and the nation's next 5 years be based and compromised on such a tool, rather, which can be hacked easily and which can be manipulated? Even the symbol loading process itself can be used, which can hack and program the machine to give a particular result. The hike in numbers, close to about 5 crore as per reports, is unprecedented and itself the biggest reason why these election results from election manipulation perspective should be cancelled. I reiterate, elections should not, could not have been held in a state of emergency when we had a civil war raging in the state of Manipur for last almost 15 months when elections were called, and people who are responsible for that were allowed to contest. So now this is my petition. I had filed it on the 17th of September. I am refiling. This is, I think, 700-800 pages of petition, and I'm refiling it with additional annexures today on the 19th of September. And this is being done so that the next 5 years of the country do not get damaged the way last 5 years were. Um, all this work comes at great personal cost and expense. I've been the petitioner who led to the arms loot in Manipur come to a stop. I filed petitions for the benefit and welfare of farmers, petition to stop the government from its atrocities against the farmers, petition on EVMs and how they are also a threat to the secrecy of your vote, because EVM through its microprocessor chip, through the Form 11A and the VVPAT slips and cameras installed, it's very easy. If someone wants, they can know which person voted for who, which is a compromise of the very basic promise to a voter in any election that their vote will remain secret. When you break the sacrosanct promise, central promise in an election, that election itself is null and void. So all these are the key grounds, but the very first ground is that we had terrorists who were in charge of the nation at the time when we went to elections, and those terrorists should have been in jails, but they were allowed to contest and come back only because of an equally corrupt and criminal justice system, election system, which led to this happen and which also compromises the future of the country. These same terrorists not only were responsible for Manipur letting China annex our land, but they are also waging wars against other countries, as has come to light in the last 1 year. They are waging war against citizens, strangling democracy through every possible means, whether it's bulldozers or the new criminal laws, the so-called laws which are unconstitutional in themselves, not only in the way they were drafted, but also the way they were passed. So these are the key grounds, and I've been working very hard. Like I said, it comes at great personal cost and expense. I need all the help and support to now take this forward in the Supreme Court. So you can do that and extend your support for the future of this country by contributing to this UPI ID, which is shared underneath. You can also purchase a copy or copies of my book, Ganatantra Se Ganatantra Tak, our degradation from being a democracy to a gun-toting mobocracy. That's how this nation is being ruled, not governed, over the last 1 decade especially. Not that it was too better before, but we've really become a gun tantra in the last 1 decade. You can buy a copy of this book, pre-order a copy for yourself and for gifting to others. These are ways in which you can help and support the work that I'm doing to keep our nation, democracy, and future safe and secure. Once again, wish the best of luck for this petition to reach its logical conclusion and the results of the election to be annulled. Immediately, I've asked the Supreme Court to do so in time-bound manner of 2 weeks, which I think is not only sufficient but also required for an emergency and urgency the matter deserves. Thank you. Do share this video with anyone and everyone you know, so that people across the country, Indians living wherever, get to know that what is the state of affairs and that somebody is fighting for the country, and this information needs to be shared far and wide. Thank you once again, and let's pray for the future of India.